D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So I finished Andor, episode 5 of season 1. And I just want to say that I read your guys' comments, and I decided I'm going to go into this episode and I'm going to try to be positive as much as possible. But I just and this is the thing. And stop telling me this is adult Star Wars. Get out of here. It's all adult Star Wars. I mean, those Ewoks were about to eat human beings. So it's very adult, okay? But it's very kiddie also, because it's got a lot of fun. But I just want to say, so I went into this I read all your comments, and you guys explain stuff very well, like why you like it. By the way, saying stuff like you need to get rid of that beard, it looks awful. What is that? What? I can't. It hides my chin fat. I need to keep the beard. But insulting me does not do anything. You guys, stop it. Like, calling me stupid isn't doing anything. I don't think you're stupid if you like this show. I just I don't like the slow burn. I knew they were not going to do that heist this episode. I called it my last episode, my last breakdown. I would listen. It would not surprise me if they don't do the heist next episode, in episode 6. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But so I went into this episode, I was like, I'm going to try to be positive. I'm going to look at the positive things, and let's see where we go from there. Now, in terms of this episode, it still is a slow burn. It's a slosh, and I don't like that. I can't get past that. It's very slow. And that makes it for a tough. It's like when you're on a plane ride and you're just all you're doing is just sitting there, and that's what this show is. I'm like, I don't understand. I know this is a little bit negative. I don't understand how if you like this show, how you can sit here and just constantly be edged. I don't understand that. Like they're edgelording us, and I mean, that may be some people's thing to be edged, but I'm all like, can we just get to the, the good part? Let's get to the money shot. If you want to call me, I think one of you was like, you're very impatient then. And you have no idea. I'm very impatient, but all right. Other than that, I think that the writing, there was one thing in here that I thought was very interesting. I want to talk about. There was also one moment with Mon Mothma that I would like to talk about, because that one kind of rang true a little bit. It just rang true in the sense that I connected with it. But in a way, I'll talk about when we get to it. But I'm gonna get into this episode and break it down and just share my thoughts on it and stuff. There was some stuff I looked up, some stuff that they mentioned, and I couldn't find anything about it. But I just one more thing, or two more things. One thing, if I say something you don't like, there's no need to insult me. I mean, I can handle it. Like some stuff, I'm just like, oh, you're just being angry about it for no reason. There's no need to be angry about what I say. Like, just take a step back and think, like, is it worth getting angry over? And then second, if you have good points, I will read your comments. I don't comment back and stuff because I got stuff to do all the time. I used to, anyways, but just you give me your thoughts. I always enjoy reading what people have to say, even if it's like, you don't understand the complexities of the show, and you're like, maybe you're right. Maybe I don't understand the complexities of the show. All right. The last thing I want to say is that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we're just getting shoved to the back of the line, you guys. And I mean that 100%, because I've been looking at my algorithm, my analytics thing, and things are way different. I'll tell you that. But anyways, all right. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. Now that I've got that out of the way, let's get started on this breakdown. So it starts off on Coruscant, and we go back to this blue-eyed hunk, Cyril Karn, Cyril. Every time I hear his name, I think cereal, and I'm like, I want Golden Grams. Speaking of cereal, he has some. So he's at his house. Look at those blue eyes. His eyes are a little wonky right there. But anyways, on that jawline. Hate him. Anyways, so here he is with his mom. And she serves him cereal with the blue milk and everything. And I was all like, that's so funny that she's giving him cereal. She gives him cereal later on too. I am like, what's up with the cereal? Now I just want to say something about this actress. She had this like distinct voice, and I was like, I've heard that somewhere. And I thought it was fun because I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, if you haven't guessed behind me. But she's Mrs. Fig from the Order of the Phoenix movie. As soon as I heard her voice, and I was just like, oh my God, I know her. But she's Mrs. Fig. All right, so that was just a fun little nod, this actress. So anyway, so she's sitting here talking about how she's all like, you messed up, but do you have any prospects and everything? Do you have a new job lined up? And long story short, he was all like, no. And she's like, I'm going to call your uncle and see if he can also help us out. Because he owes our family a favor. I'm going to call in the family favor. And he's like, don't do that. And she'll be like, no, he'll give it to us because, he owes us. Plus, he'll understand that I haven't asked for it up until now. And he'll respect that, yada, yada, yada. So then Andor, he wakes back up in the little camp, and what's his face? Keem? No. Skeen is his name. Sorry, I just looked it up. Skeen has gotten all his crap out, and he's all like, just checking your stuff, and he sees this little blaster right here, and he's like, this is company issued, and he's all like, where'd you get it? And he's like, you do not want to know. And then he comes over, and he this tattoo right here on his chest. He's like, you know where that's from? He's like, you're a crate head. Now I looked it up, and like, there's the crate dragon, but I couldn't find anything else about crate. Because I was like, is that a planet? Couldn't find anything else. So the crate dragon is all I could find, obviously, and we saw that in The Mandalorian. But other than that, I'm just like, I don't know where it's coming out. And then he shows him this, and he's like, you know what this means? He's like, by the hand. Now, I couldn't find anything about this either. I don't know if it was mentioned in another thing, another Star Wars thing. If you know, please tell me downstairs. But the only thing I found was the Emperor's hand, and it's like a little elite group of people. But I was like, whatever. And he's like, where were you at? And he's like, Sippo. Couldn't find anything about it because he's like, never heard of it. And I was like, I've never heard of it either because it's not real as of yet. So then he, he's all, he's like, walking off and everything because he doesn't trust Andor. So then back on Coruscant, Mom Mothma is eating her breakfast in her lovely home. She's got a great house. And her husband comes in, and they talk about the driver and his name. And she's like, if you knew his name, why don't you say his name or whatever? So then her daughter comes in. Now, I just want to say they gave her a daughter in this show. Now, I know it's fashionable these days to give everybody a daughter instead of giving them sons because, us men are toxic. But I wish they would have gave her a son because there's this like little anthology comic. And it's trade paperback and everything. And I own it. It's in this little closet right here. But I found the picture online. But there's a great little story in there about her son. But basically, so here it is right here. I'll just pull it up right now. And it's basically like he's sending a message to he's talking to his parents and everything. And he's talking to his mom. And he's like, I'm glad that I'm working for the rebellion. And I'm so happy about it. And I know we're working for a great cause. And he's on Hoth. And the whole time you're reading this, and then Vader comes in and he kills him, chokes him to death. And he's like, I don't know when you're going to get this message, but when you do, I just want you to know I'm still fighting, and I believe in the cause and everything. And you find out his mother is Mon Mothma. She gets his hologram thing right before she goes in to give that speech in Return of the Jedi. And I'm like, man, that is great. I love crap like that because when she says the line, many Bothans died to bring us this information, like it's like she was thinking of her son during that thing. And I was like, oh, this is good stuff right here. It's stuff like that like people like fans like me, I love that shit. I love it. Anyways, so I wish they would, maybe they do. She does have a son. But I do wish that they would have given her a son. And maybe she does, and we just haven't met him yet. But yeah, so she's got a daughter, and her daughter's a little bitch. because they have something planned. I don't know if you heard what it was. I didn't hear what it was, but they have something planned. And she's like, "Go get your coat." And she's like, "I'm not going." She's like, "We have this planned." And she's like, "I'm not going." And she's like, "It's fine. You can you're out of it now." And she's like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "You just want to look like you're involved. You just want it to look like you're involved with your kid." And she's like, "Well, that was very hurtful." And she's like, "See, there you go again." She's like, "Making it about yourself." And then she says, "Is this really how you want to start your day?" She's like, "I didn't cause this I choose this conversation." And I was like, "No, bitch, but you started it." Yeah, let me tell you right now, because she's like, "No, you're going. Go get your coat." Let me just tell you right now. And then Mon Mothma, she gets up and leaves. I'll tell you right now. I'd be like, "I'm telling you right now, little girl, you're going to go get your coat. You're going to get your ass to that door, and we're going. And you're going to have a good time. Because I'll tell you right now, if you don't go get your coat, trust me, you're going to regret not getting your coat." I'll tell you right now, like I would have been, and her husband's such a freaking douche. Because he just sits here and he just like lets all this happen and he's enjoying it. Now, I don't understand their relationship. This is not a marriage. I'd be like, I don't love you anymore. We don't love each other. Why are we together still? You go do I want a divorce. But there's that family dynamic. Yeah. Okay. So then we go back over to the camp and he sits down and he gives him, this is called Dre milk. I'm assuming it's those little goats that they have. And he says it's not good, but it's got the substance and everything. The substance. It's got the substance. What does that even mean? It's got a nutritional value and everything. Milk, raw milk. I know a lot of people won't say this, but raw milk does have like really good nutritional value. We pasteurize it and stuff, but whatever. Yeah. Anyways, so this part right here is where the writing is really this right here is my favorite scene in the whole movie. Because it talks about some very good things. So he pulls up this navigational thing and he goes, "Oh, this is an old one." And then this kid goes, "Yes, old but true, old and true and sturdy. One of the best navigational tools ever built. Can't be jammed or intercepted. Something breaks, you can fix it yourself." And then Cassian's like, "Hard to learn?" And he goes, "Yes, but once you've mastered it, you're free. We've gone reliant on imperial tech, and we've made ourselves vulnerable. There's a growing list of things we've known and forgotten, things they've pushed on us to forget, things like freedom." And then Skeen is all like, Nemec sees oppression everywhere, and he goes, Skeet, and then he goes, "Yeah, Skeet pretends not to listen, but I know the message is sinking in." And then he says he's right. He's like, "Yeah, did you know he's writing a manifesto?" And he's like, "It's not finished yet." And then he holds up these two things, and I thought, and this part right here, I thought was very, like, this is the thing. The writing is good at points, but it's just so slow. Which I want to talk about that at the end. I want to talk about all this stuff at the end because I know most of you don't stick around for my thoughts at the very end. My final thought. But he goes, "It's so confusing, isn't it? So much going wrong, so much to say, and all of it happening so quickly. The pace of repression outstrips our ability to understand it. And that is the real trick of the imperial thought machine. It's easier to hide behind 40 atrocities in a single incident. But they have a fight on their hands, don't they? They will have to shake the galaxy hard to loosen our grip." And then he talks about his manifesto and he says, "I haven't titled it yet. I've been waiting. It's a work in progress, and I know that there's a great deal left to say. I mean, look, right here, fresh inspiration. Two seemingly random objects, and yet this chart and this charts an astral path. This maps the trail to political political consciousness. Both systems based on truth, both navigating toward clear and achievable outcomes. Basic facts expanded to," and then he gets interrupted by what's his face. Hold on, because he's got to go learn this thing. Now, this thing right here is their diagram of the ship, which we will see later. And they talk about how they're like, how do you, do something about the weight and the weight distribution? And he's like, you do not know how to get it all, lift it off the platform. And he's like, and they're like, well, how would you do this? And he talks about how like there's a scale or whatever on there that'll do it for them. And then he's like, I am piloting this. And they're like, no, you got to do what you're told. He's like, I am piloting this. I am not going to put my life on the line. If my life is going to be on the line, I want to be in charge of it. And he's like, I'm going to pilot. So then they start training, and he shows him. He's like, this is our area. He's like, I need you to envision, kind of thing. I'm paraphrasing, by the way, because he doesn't say all of this. But so then we see the thing, which I'm glad we see it now, because I'm all like, oh, all we're gonna see is this friggin' valley and everything. So these guys are walking out, and they come to this little thing that was the temple, and it's very obvious that some people were having a go at it. They have a target practice, and he's all like, where are they? And they're talking about soldiers, and they obviously went off on their own. He's like, I want this cleaned up. So these guys are training, and then we go back over to Fizla. And this guy, he's trying to get things up and going. And we didn't see Bricks this episode. I'm all like, is she done with the show? Like, we saw her for the first 3 episodes, and we're just done now. So he's setting up. He's like, what do you think of this building? He's like, what, does a hotel? And he's like, no, as your headquarters. And he's like, and then he goes, can I have a title like prefect? I know there's no up in pay, but, and he's like, you can call yourself whatever you want. Which I found that interesting. Like, you want a title? Like, who freaking cares, dude? But whatever. So then they're practicing marching, and he's all like, you two should switch. And he's all like, you're not in charge here. And he's like, but he shoots with his left hand. It would be better if your weapon was on the outside. So they end up switching because he can tell everybody what hand they write, and then they hear the noise, and it's a TIE fighter and everything. And they cover up the guns, and the TIE fighter, she's like, it's going to come back. And it gets really low. And I was like, what a dick. So we go back to the dam, and he gets this guy, and he's talking to him, and he's all like, they're like, how many do you think we're going to get of the people that live on this planet? This is their planet, because they have the little thing that's coming. Hopefully next episode. I'm not going to hold out faith, but we'll see. And we find out later that this guy, I don't remember his name. I should pull it up, but he was in love with a native of the planet, and they took her away from him, and he's pissed about it. He's like, I'm so freaking pissed. I can't find him, but what's his character's name? But it doesn't matter. Anyways, and then he insults the people. He's like, they all smell. Last time we got less than 100, and they all smelled. And he's like, imagine if this valley was full. And he's trying to, play off, because he's all like, I need this plan to work. So then they get all their stuff ready. They're getting everything ready. And he tries to grab his bag, and he's like, you do not touch my things. And he's getting dressed. Then we come back over to professional bitch face. I don't dislike this character. I know the actress said stuff that pissed people off. I don't dislike the actress because she said that the men around her are stupid. Although I don't think they're stupid. I think that they're just, they're doing their job. And, she's, it's like she's looking in between the cracks to try to find, the bugs, kind of thing. I'm not saying the rebels are bugs, but they're like rats. They have to hide, because if they seen, then they get killed. So her and her assistant are going through reports, because they're trying to find anything they can to link this stuff together. And she's like, maybe there's nothing there. And her assistant, which I didn't like this, because I felt like her assistant was like, those people that have to constantly be validated, like, oh, you're just so amazing. And I'm all like when people start that shit with me, I'm all like, oh, fuck you. I don't need to be told I'm amazing every 5 minutes. I'm like, I'm an adult. I can handle it. I don't need validation. But he does tell, he's like, you're right. There's something going on here. He's like, it's too random to be random. They did mention Jakku in here, which is in the desert planet that Rey is on. So anyways, so she's all like, 2 more reports each. And he's all like, let's do it. And she takes some pills, which I was like, ooh, sharesies. Anyways, so these guys, they're all getting ready for the big thing. They let their goats go. They burn their little models and stuff, and then they head out. There they are. They let their goats go, or the dray. Anyways, so back on Coruscant, we get all bumpish and everything. He's all like, I got fired. And I'm all like, oh, get over yourself. Pull yourself back up. You're about to get a new job. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be something you like. So she's like, I contacted Uncle whatever. And he's like, he's happy to give you a job and everything. And that's pretty much the end of that. Yeah. This is, first off, I just want to say their relationship, like my mother is a Yenta, like this woman, but I have a great relationship with my mother, and I don't understand this whole thing is very new to me. You know, as you know, I'm a parent. If my kid did not like me, I'd be all like, what? I don't need to be their friend, but I do want them to be, you know, somebody that I want to be around. Right. I'm trying to raise them that way. We talk a lot of geeky things. So these guys, they're walking. I can't remember what they talk about here. But then we go back to, this is the thing that they're going to steal. And he comes in, and I can't remember exactly what he says to them, but he's like, why isn't that whatever up there painted? And they're like, we didn't have time, or some crap like that. And he's like, we have somebody from Coruscant coming in to check our work, you know, an auditor or something like that. And he's all like, I want it painted tomorrow. And they're like, sir, they're like, you know, people hear about this planet and this little light show that's coming in. It would be a bummer for everybody to miss it. And they're like, we know not everybody can see it, but it'd be a bummer to miss it. And he's all like, fine. So like, you guys can do it the day after the event. They're like, it'd be, you know, cool if you just kept skeleton crew down here to maintain everything. So, and he's, you know, I didn't get it. Bummer. He was smiling a little bit, like he like grinned a little bit because he was happy about that, because it'll, you know, it'll be easier for them. So then these two, so then they're getting their stuff, and he comes up with a knife, and he's like, if you move, I'll kill you. And then he gets the crystal out, and he's like, see, he's like, I knew it. He brought a $30,000 crystal. He's like, it's a sky crystal. He brought this in here. Something's going on. And he's like, I want to know now. And he's all like, and she's like, we can't do this without them. And he basically goes, listen, he's like, if you're scared, if you don't want to go, he's like, if you're scared and you don't want to do this, you need to bail out now. The day before the job is always the hardest, because you want to bail, because you're questioning your whole thing. And he's like, don't mistake nerves for fear, or something like that. Something about nerves and fear and everything. And it was a good line. I should have wrote it down, but I didn't. But he's like, I'm not going to be your reason for quitting. Or calling off the job. And he's all like, and then he turns around and he's all like, because they're like, he doesn't need to tell you why he's here. And then he turns around, he's like, I'm here for the money. He's like, I don't want to be your reason that you quit. He's like, if you want to quit, you quit on your own, and it's your fault you want to quit because you're scared. And they're like, you're scared. And he's like, damn straight I'm scared. This is a big deal. We could die. You're dumb if you're not scared. And I'm like, I agree with Cassie, and he's right. If you're not scared if you're about to do a heist and you're not scared, you're dumb. So then we go back onto Coruscant. I wish they would do more about this stuff with Mon Mothma. I really feel like it's not like they're wasting time, and you know, I'll get back to the slow burn thing, but I wish they would do more with Mon Mothma. So her husband's all like, I can't remember what they talk about here, but he's like, how come you didn't tell me about the charity? Now he's talking about the money that she talked about in the last episode, how she's like, the money's there, I just can't move it. He's like, how come you didn't tell me about this charity? And she's all like, she's like, I didn't think you were interested. And he's like, why? And she's like, because it's charitable. And I was like, ooh, stinger. And he's like, what's the driver's name? And I can't remember the driver's name, like it matters. He's like, will you take the freeway? He's like, sure. So then they take their car. Their car is very beautiful. I love Coruscant. I'm a city girl. I do like the country, but I grew up in the country. So I'm a city girl. Like I like the city. I like skyscrapers, all that stuff. Like, hold on, let me go back and get it. Like I love this. I just love it. Don't get me wrong. I like nature, but like from afar, So, um, uh, so they get there, and they get there, and they're like, yeah, we had to sneak up here to make those models. So then this guy, he's back in his room, which is very bland. Maybe his mom. Look, and I tried to zoom in on this action figure because I was like, what is that? I need to know. I couldn't figure. I tried so hard. It was so blurry, but I'm all like, oh, it's like I need to know what action figure that is because it'd be so cool if they made it. Yeah, like all of this. I'm all like, what is that? I was like, it's like a creature. I was like, oh, I can't figure it out. But he's looking at a picture of Cassian Andor. What a little freak, Like, listen, don't go all single white female hooker. Cause listen, if you've got a boner for him, it's not gonna happen because he's going to end up with a white British girl, kind of. But I honestly listen. I honestly think he is going to join the rebellion. I honestly believe that. That's just my theory, though. So then back here, he sees them. They signal him like they're ready to go, and it's the next day. And she's like, go, and he's like, the Empire killed my brother, and he's like, he was a farmer. They came in. The magistrate took his land, flooded his farm. He couldn't fight them, so he got on a boat and filled his pockets with rocks. And that's really sad that his brother took his own life. And he's like, so you're doing this for revenge? And he's like, it's the only thing I know, kind of thing. And he's like, that's the closest thing you're going to get to an apology. He's like, that's just going to have to do. And I do not think that he owes Cassian an apology for questioning him. I would do the same thing. They've been together for months. They've been planning this for months. And then days before the whole thing happens, like, what was it, a week? They change things up and they add a new person. I would be questioning it too. It's 110% logical. Anybody would do it. If you didn't do it, you're dumb. And I don't mean you. I mean, like, in the situation, unless you're doing a heist, you're preparing for a heist and everything. Okay, I'm wrapping this thing up. So then they're preparing. She leaves, and her and the other girl, they have a special mission. I don't know what that is, but we'll see. And so then we go back to Coruscant, and we go back to Stalin Skarsgård, Luthen. I like that name, Luthen. And he's on the radio because he's listening for him because he wants to know. He wants like an update, which I get that. And his assistant comes in, and she's all like, "Listen, you're not gonna be able to do anything right now." She's like, if you want to do something productive, go clean some coins. And by the way, I was trying so hard to look in the background here also. Like, I'm like, what is that? I'm like this looks like a Sith holocron, but it's too big because they just sit in your hand. And I was like, this looks like a Jedi holocron, but it's also, again, too big because it sits in your hand. I was trying to figure out what these were. And then I was like trying to figure out like what this is and what this is. And this right here looks so familiar, but I was like, I don't remember. But like, it looks like something from Mandalorian, but I don't remember. Anyways, so because there's all these little trinkets. Because if you go back to episode 4 with Mon Mothma when she comes to a shop, if you look in the background, you can see a whole bunch of fun stuff in there. We're not going to do that right now. So she basically she tells him like, listen, there's nothing you can do tonight, but by this time tomorrow, they'll either all be dead or some of them will be dead. They'll either fail or succeed. And he's like, well, that's, but I mean, like, those are the only two options. Either you fail or succeed in this situation. She's all like, she's like, let's go to bed. We have a customer in the morning. He's like, all right, fine. And so they pack up and they leave. And that's the end of the episode. So I just want to say, now, in terms of this episode, I don't think the show is bad. But you guys, listen, and I know you guys are going to get on to me about it, but the pacing is so slow. It's so slow. I cannot handle it. And this is why. And I know I'm going to go back to the whole, everybody wants to be like, this is an adult Star Wars. This is a mature Star Wars. And I go, okay, but Star Wars has always been like adult and mature, but it's also been fun. And I brought this up in my last episode. It's been fun in the sense that like, when Han, and I'll bring this one up again. I thought of another one, but I totally forgot it now. So it's like whatever. But when Han in that first movie is running down the corridor chasing after those stormtroopers, and they stop and turn because there's more of them behind him, and he shoots him, and then he runs away, and then he's like, right, he's like, come on, let's get out of here, kid, or whatever. That was fun. You got a little chuckle out of that, you know. And the Ewoks are kind of annoying. Like the Ewoks, I get people's gripe about the Ewoks. They're just so dang cute. And how they're silly, but I go, you know, it's still fun. And that's fun because that movie is awesome. That's Return of the Jedi is awesome. But I think a lot of people, their biggest gripe is the Ewoks. And I'm like, well, yeah, but if you take out the Ewoks, you know, the super fun kiddie part, then it's, you know, it's a good adult film kind of thing. Sorry, I just needed some stuff, some caffeine. But yeah, the pacing for me is the biggest problem because I like all the characters and the writing isn't 100. I feel like Tony Gilroy wrote out a movie, like a 4-hour movie, and then chopped it up into these episodes, but they're all, but he could have condensed it. He really could have condensed it because I just feel like this whole heist thing where it's you know, they're edging us, you guys. And I just go like, you know, I'm ready to come. Okay, I don't need to be edged anymore. So I think but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have that heist in the next episode. I would not be surprised at all. But they will. All right, you guys, I've talked enough and I bored you enough with my nonsense. Tell me what you guys thought about this episode. Insult me in the comment section down below. That's totally fine. I get it and everything. I'm not shaving my beard, okay? You know, I shave my beard and my brother always tells me, he's like, stop shaving off your beard. You just look like a fat lesbian. And I'm all like, thank you, brother. But tell me what you guys thought. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. You know, I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on my next Andor breakdown and review. Listen, have a good week. May the force be with you. Bye.